The mysteries hiding in deep woods. Moments after hikers saw something horrifying deep in the woods. Were they able to get out alive? On September 2nd, 2024, this man went crouch hiking for 2 hours straight. Little did he know that it would become one of his worst nightmares. By using Google Maps and proper directions, he knew where he was heading towards, but some eerie creature welcomed him.
As I'm crouch hiking in pure darkness for 2 hours straight, I make it to this point on the map, and on my life, I hear what sounds like human feet crunching leaves in front of me, and... So, just to double check, I wait in silence for 10 minutes. I hear the same sound of footsteps crushing through the brush and what sounds like a person going...
Yeah, he did wait 10 minutes in silence to believe he was not just being delusional. But then, he froze in fear. He observed two shining eyes staring straight at him. He knew he couldn't continue this trail.
At this point, I'm afraid for my life. So I run down the hill and decide to bum rush the main gate and see if I can sprint my way to the owl without getting caught by security. Scared out of my mind, I ran as far as I could to Blake in the getaway car, and we sped back to our hotel to think of a final strategy to get into Bohemian Grove before sunrise.
He ran. He ran to save his life from whatever it was. With chills running down his spine, he made a way out of there, knowing that whatever it was might be coming right after him.
As I'm crouch hiking in pure darkness for 2 hours straight, I make it to this point on the map, and on my life, I hear what sounds like human feet crunching leaves in front of me, and... So, just to double check, I wait in silence for 10 minutes. I hear the same sound of footsteps crushing through the brush and what sounds like a person going... At this point, I'm afraid for my life. So I run down the hill and decide to bum rush the main gate and see if I can sprint my way to the owl without getting caught by security. Scared out of my mind, I ran as far as I could to Blake in the getaway car, and we sped back to our hotel to think of a final strategy to get into Bohemian Grove before sunrise.
After all this panic led him to a wild escape plan. He was still worried if he would make it into Bohemian Grove before sunrise. Some hikers are brave, aren't they? With that being said, let's move on to our second piece of horrifying footage. On February 2nd, 2017, in Waldeck Mine exploration, two hikers found a very old abandoned Waldeck mine, a place where no one dares to step in because it is claimed to be haunted by ghosts. As they moved deeper into the narrow, humid tunnels, they were hit with an eerie silence. But it wasn't going to stay silent for so long.
Right here, there's one of those insulators for the wiring, knob and tube wiring. So let's head back out. Sometimes we can see stuff on the way out that we missed coming in because we were facing the wrong direction. But yeah, this is crazy. These timbers up there, that's really dangerous. So we'll get through here as fast as we can and get out of here before this all comes down. Here's that ore chute again. And I gotta get past this chute. Wow, crazy. And then you can see how big these timbers are. That's about almost a foot in diameter, the big cross timber. So
Suddenly, a faint, whispery sound echoed through the darkness, making them freeze. It didn't sound like the wind. Instead, it was a strange murmur, almost like voices whispering secrets from another world.
They had to put big ones in here to hold up all of this rock. And you can see right here where some of these boards are bending. Do you hear that? Sounds like, what, is that wind? I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. Do you hear that? It stopped. Well, I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound like wind, but that's crazy. Don't know if that's a bird or I don't know what that is. It almost sounds like snakes, but wow.
The deeper they went, the louder it grew, until it felt like unseen eyes were watching them, forcing them to leave. With each step, the whispers seemed to close in around them, and they knew they had to escape before something in that blackness found them first.
There's some weird stuff in mines, but that is definitely creepy. I don't know what that is. So let's get out of here and head back out to the portal. That was weird. I don't hear it. Wow, that was strange. All right, so, Jesus. That's the wall deck mine, main haulage tunnel, and this is the Through Night TN12 flashlight review and demonstration, so highly recommended. The only one thing I could think of would be that
If you listen to this footage right here, where the voices have been slowed down, creepy stuff like "hear us," "turn the light on," and "get out of this place" can be heard. It surely was something out of this world. Paranormal and creepy at the same time.
where some of these boards are bending. Do you hear that? Sounds like, is that wind? I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. Do you hear that?
Moving on to our third eerie clip of times when hikers encountered something horrifying. On October 12th, 2023, in the Appalachian Mountains, a mountain range in North America, he was hiking alone on the Appalachian Trail, a path known for eerie tales of people who vanish without a trace or are found dead. Little did he know he would encounter this while hiking. The trees were dense, glowing in the sunlight. Suddenly, he spotted something moving in the distance, a wild figure with ragged clothes and eyes that were dark and were even visible in broad daylight. The hiker froze in fear, watching as the figure stepped closer, its bare feet silent on the forest floor.
Do you see that? Do you see that?
It didn't seem human, more like a creature that belonged to the woods, untamed and feral. The wild man stopped and stared, grinning with teeth that looked too sharp and very eerie, and he was moving, instead walking fast, right towards him.
That's not right.
He was panicked, and he didn't dare to turn, running down the path, not daring to look back. But the feeling stayed, as he was not alone, and something was still following, hidden in the shadows, waiting.
Do you see that? That's not right.
What a creepy encounter indeed. Let's move on to our fourth piece of horrifying footage. On January 12th, 2019, in a remote wooded area, some hunters stumbled upon a camera deep in the woods, half buried and covered in dirt. The footage inside was blurred, but still revealed enough to chill anyone who watched it, because what it contained belonged to no one but a hiker he was never found. In the video, a hiker is moving alone through the trees and recording with his flashlight on. He kept looking back as if something were close, always just out of sight. At one point, heavy breathing fills the audio and strange shapes flash between the trees. The hiker started walking fast, with chills running down his spine. He knew he wasn't alone. Then a sudden guttural growl was heard. The camera drops to the ground, capturing only footsteps and a final, sickening scream before the screen turns black. The hiker was never found, and whatever hunted him remains hidden in those woods. Was it an animal, a ghost, or something way more paranormal? We will never find answers to such questions. With that being said, let's move on to our fifth eerie clip. On the 8th of March, 2023, in a deep woods campsite, these hikers were resting by their campsite. The sun was about to set. The woods around them were silent, and they were enjoying the sounds of nature around them when they witnessed this. Out of nowhere, they heard eerie voices from the woods, followed by a low growl. One of the hikers stood up, staring into the trees, and then, without warning, something massive was moving in the trees. The creature's eyes were glowing, and its heavy footsteps shook the ground. The hikers were terrified, looking at each other in panic. Just before the creature was about to reach the edge of the campsite, it stopped, watching them. Little did they know this hiking would turn into a horrible nightmare for them. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, it disappeared, leaving them shaken and wondering what was living behind those tall trees. Because no possible animal could be as big as those trees. It was something paranormal, something they can't imagine. With that being said, let's move on to our sixth encounter. On September 22nd, 2023, on a Baltimore bike trail, this biker noticed it right away. The trail was scattered with bones, more than last time. Something was wrong. As he walked further, he realized a tree he'd passed before was now missing, like it had vanished into thin air.
Oh god, there's even more bones than last time. Looks like we've already passed it a while ago, but that tree is gone. Oh! It's just dark as hell in here.
The path seemed darker than usual, shadows thick and heavy. Then the silence came. Every sound just stopped, like there was no animal or human around. Chills were running down his spine. There were two ways he could go, but it felt like each one led him somewhere he didn't want to go.
Probably gonna turn around soon. Oh, there's two ways. Holy crap, dude, this trail goes on forever.
The eerie silence was spooky, like the woods were holding their breath, waiting for something. Finally, an unnatural rustle broke the silence, and he felt something watching him. That was his option. He turned and left, never looking back. He claimed that it was a skinwalker, but maybe it was something more sinister than that.
Probably gonna turn around soon. Oh, there's two ways. Holy crap, dude, this trail goes on forever.
Let's move on to our next horrifying encounter. On August 21st, 2024, he was just hiking, enjoying the quiet, when he heard something eerie, a low, haunting sound echoing through the trees. It didn't sound like any animal he'd ever heard. It was deep, almost like a growl, that stretched out and eerie, moving closer. His heart pounded. He tried to shake it off, telling himself it was nothing, but the noise grew louder, following him. Something was out there, watching and waiting for him to be its next prey. Was it a Bigfoot or something far more sinister than that?
Oh.
He was panicked, and he ran as that awful sound chased him down the trail. He didn't stop until he was far, far away from whatever was lurking in those woods.
Oh.
You won't dare to hike in those woods again. With that being said, let's move on to our eighth terrifying hiking encounter. On the 10th of January, 2010, a YouTuber named Josh was hiking in a famous mountain on a dark night. Mountains are some places where you might expect lost hikers, or sometimes even dead hikers. But what these guys found was way shocking.
Through this tunnel. This is crazy, man. Oh my god. I used to be claustrophobic, but I guess I lost it because I'm not that scared. English? You speak English? No English. No? Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes, there was a lost little girl inside a cave, totally traumatized, crying and scared. If it had been these guys, this girl would have vanished into thin air or been eaten by an animal. These guys stayed with her until her parents were found, and she was reunited with them. No one knows how she reached the end of this long tunnel. Indeed, these people were heroes for saving her and turning this horror story into a hero story. On January 12th, 2022, a woman was hiking alone near the edge of a dark forest after camping there. The air was still, and everything around her was eerily quiet. As she walked deeper, she suddenly heard a chilling scream echo from within the trees. It wasn't human. It sounded like something from a nightmare. Her heart raced, and fear gripped her as the scream grew louder and more desperate. She tried to tell herself it was just an animal, but it sounded too strange, too unnatural. With every step she took, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. She turned around, but there was no one in sight. The woods were empty, but the terrifying sound wouldn't stop.
Oh my god, no, fuck that.
With shivers running down her spine, she drove back to safety, unsure of what was wandering in the darkness. That night, she knew she had encountered something not of this world. Moving on to our last creepy encounter in the woods. On September 28th, 2021, this man and his army buddy were walking along the outskirts of Browning, Montana. It was quiet, and the road seemed to extend endlessly into the forest. Suddenly, they saw something strange off to the side of the road at first. They thought it was just some human or a laborer working in the forest. But as they tried to get closer, they realized they were wrong.
Buddy! How you doing? Oh! Just some cruisers, man!
The thing they witnessed was so unnatural as the man started crawling. Why would he do that out of no reason? Their instincts kicked in and fear hit them hard. The man seemed to be crawling fast.
That's crazy shit. This guy's crawling at me like it's goddamn... What's up, dude?
Without thinking twice, they ran and sped out of there. Whatever that thing was, we didn't want to stick around to find
Dude?
out. They knew they had just escaped something we couldn't explain, but it was recorded in their phone to give them shivers every time they watched it. In the wild, even the most prepared hikers can stumble upon the unexplainable and terrifying, often leaving with stories they'll never forget. From strange creatures to ghostly whispers, these eerie encounters remind us that there are places and things in this world that defy reason. While some return with chilling footage, others are left haunted by what they've seen. So the next time you're deep in the woods, remember, you may not be as alone as you think. For more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video. Comment below which case you find the most horrifying. Don't forget to press the bell icon for future notifications.